time is it over there actually in France?
3:15, 3 p.m.
Cool. Perfect. Well, let me start off with the intro once again, and we can kind of get started from there. Again, apologies. Welcome everybody to the Web3 Gaming Show. We are here to uncover the world of Web3 gaming and hear from the people who are creating and pioneering its future, and also those who are very flexible and patient. Thank you, Flav. We're exploring the stories of game developers, community builders, content creators, and industry experts. Join us as we dive deep into the ever growing Web3 gaming space and learn more about the movers and shakers of this very exciting industry. On our fourth episode of the Web3 Gaming Show, I am excited to talk to Flavien, the Director of Global Development of the Blockchain Gaming Alliance, also known as the BGA. The Blockchain Gaming Alliance is an organization committed to promoting within the game industry. The BGA also provides an open forum for individuals and companies to share knowledge and collaborate, create common standards, and establish best practices and networks. For, I think, the third time today, Flavien, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks again for the invite, Juan.
Of course. Thank you again for being super flexible.
No worries.
Flavian, as I mentioned earlier, would love to learn a little bit more about, and what I know the listeners would love to learn a little bit more about how you ultimately entered the Web3 space and kind of where are you at today?
Hmm. Yeah, I really discovered the Web3 ecosystem through my actually my understanding of blockchain came with my understanding on NFTs when PFP community really surged back then. It was late 2020 for me. I discovered NFTs and immediately I understood what blockchain could really bring. It was all about proving ownership of digital assets, and I really understood the philosophy of blockchain from that moment. And obviously, I understood that through the purchase of NFTs, but I really wanted to be more involved and actually understand the technologies behind blockchain and crypto market, obviously token economy and everything around. And I decided to learn from what I could seek, what I could watch, what kind of projects appearing in the ecosystem. And after that, I really wanted to be involved in that ecosystem myself. So I really wanted to find a job in the ecosystem, not specifically block gaming, but we will talk about that because yes, I'm a big player for sure, always have been.
Nice.
But I got the opportunity thanks to Sébastien Borget, the co-founder of the Sandbox and president of the Blockchain Game Alliance, to actually got this opportunity to be involved in the BGA first as a community manager because it was needed to have someone to actually take care of the members. And we saw a huge, after the announcement of the rebranding of Facebook for Meta, the BGA gained a lot of interest, and it was really we needed to have someone to take care of the communication side, the event side, and everything. And with a lot of challenges that we're facing the BGA right now, I got the opportunity to become a director of global development. So pretty happy.
No, that's a dope story, almost from zero now to the top of the world with the BGA. It's exciting to see. It's happy to see that. And I mean, you mentioned that you were a gamer, and I think kind of blockchain, understanding blockchain makes sense, especially because you've been a part of these industries. Can you tell us a little bit more about the history and the mission of the BGA and kind of how you fit in that role?
Yeah, the BGA was created in 2018, so not a lot of things happened back then except the crypto kitties things. But you got a lot of minding people like Nicolas Poire, director of innovation at Ubisoft. You got Gabby from YGG. You got Alexander from Sky Mavis, Axie Infinity, and others who actually understood blockchain, but really understood also the relevancy to gather a group of professionals who want to move forward together with blockchain in gaming, and they really wanted to create this ecosystem. In 2018, we got Sebastian as the president of the BGA 1 year later, and now we're very happy to count actually 500 companies in the BGA, such as NFT, all over the world. So it's pretty exciting. And as you said, the mission is promote blockchain within the gaming industry, offer this open forum for any individuals, because we're also talking about individuals who want to become member of the BGA, capitalize on the network, but also companies to be involved in that ecosystem. And we do several things that I'm sure we will talk about just later.
Yeah, for sure. 500 companies. That's a lot of companies. You have a lot of people to keep track of.
True, true.
So what ultimately are these companies? If I were a company looking to join the BGA, what would be your pitch to that company? And then ultimately, what are these companies receiving from a membership?
It is a very good question, actually, because so we're talking about blockchain gaming in one side. Obviously, our main objective is to gather game companies, which could be gaming studio, blockchain game companies, could be game publishers, gaming infrastructure as well. So we want to talk with them specifically because they are the one who actually will bring adoption to blockchain with gaming. But in one other side, you also have platforms, blockchain services, who are actually building infrastructures and technologies with blockchain for gaming as well. So we want to bridge these two worlds into one ecosystem where professionals have the ability to actually exchange, communicate with each other, and share knowledge, and make sure to find synergies between all of their activities.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you said you started 2018 and now you're to 500 members. Like, if you were to guess, where will you be at in 2025? How many members do you think the BGA will have?
Wow, I really don't know. Actually, that's a good KPI. I would say the main KPI for us is to make sure that we can provide value to the
Mm,
members who first believed in the BGA. We want to bring retention to the
mm,
ecosystem. That's very important. So I don't know how many we'll have. Obviously, if we need to target something, I would say 1,000 companies. But I would
nice.
say as long as the people in the BGA are able to provide values, and most of all are in this willing to participate, willing to share
Mm,
knowledge, which is not something you see very often in specific industries when you don't share
right.
anything about what you know. But that's very different in blockchain gaming, in my opinion.
Mm.
So that's pretty cool.
No, I totally agree. I think it's different in general for Web3 as well. I mean, people are much more open to helping people, which is a really great thing to see. And I actually was talking to a couple of Web2 game devs yesterday, and they were like, "You're trying to help us get investment. Like, why? Like, don't you need to sign an NDA?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Like, I just want you to succeed."
Why are you
Um,
so nice?
exactly. What's your plan? Um, what are some of the challenges that you've gone through so far with BGA in terms of growing the membership as an organization in general?
I would say the first challenge is to make sure that the BGA as an organization has a voice. We want
Mm,
to be the organization that actually you need to talk to if you want to learn more about blockchain gaming as a game company. But in the opposite, as I said, the blockchain services, we want to be involved in gaming. So we really want to prove our legitimacy in both industries. That's really important.
mm,
I would say the obstacle of that is still the ecosystem suffer from what's happening in the crypto markets, and
mm,
which is not, in my opinion, entirely true. Like despite what's happening in the ecosystem last year, better this year, but still complicated. We saw a lot of positive signs in the community based on the yearly report that we released, which is the BGA survey and report. Um, uh, Try to picture the state of the gaming industry, the blockchain gaming industry, with the help of our members. But still, we saw that 30% cites crypto winter as having the most negative impact on blockchain gaming. So that's an obstacle we try to overcome on our side. And as I said, I would say the second challenge is really to bring retention. We want to keep our members happy about what we do. That's really our focus. That's why, based on the different activities we did last year in terms of events, content, networking opportunities, we understood what we needed to do, and actually we hired 2 people to actually be better for our members, to address some value proposition to them, so to bring more value proposition to them. So that's one challenge we have. And I would say the third challenge will be to provide engagement. Obviously, we don't want to create 500 a network of 500 companies if nothing is happening on our ecosystem, and you don't have any activities and you don't have anyone talking. So that's a big problem, and I would say that's the main KPI we want to take care of, which is bringing conversation in our circle at first and outside as well.
Right. That makes total sense. I mean, as someone who works in the industry, having conversations with other people and seeing like where they're looking at, potential, growth opportunities is really important for me. How do you plan on creating that environment even more so than it is today?
It should be based on different verticals that we have. First, it's education. We want to educate the traditional gaming industry about blockchain, but also educate our members, because the blockchain gaming ecosystem is moving very fast based on the technologies and the guys who are actually building new things, innovation. So we want to keep up by trying to create some content. So we like to actually give awareness about what our members are doing, but also try to tackle some topics around blockchain gaming. Like this week, we actually talk about digital property rights and Web3 gaming. Very interesting stuff. And after that, next month we're gonna tackle this subject of Web3 analytics with gaming, which is another big important fact, because you're still developing a game with gaming metrics, but how do you bring Web3 metrics into your gaming metrics, retention metrics? So that's the kind of thing we try to do, educate our ecosystem as well. It's really important.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do you see, I know I kind of asked this earlier, but how do you see BGA growing and ultimately evolving in the future, maybe outside of the KPI of members?
I would say yes, of course. Bringing new members really means bringing new opportunities for our actual members, current members, to meet relevant people for their business. So that's good. We want to be selective in the kind of people who actually enter the BGA. So we have an application process for sure. I try to understand why they would like to join, the reason, and everything. But that's the kind of thing, obviously, we want to do. First, it's really about, we have a lot to do to educate the traditional gaming industry. Which is good is the industry is listening, which wasn't so much the case back then, a few years ago, because it's a new technology. But I would say it's good that we're working in gaming, because gaming industry is really more welcoming in terms of bringing innovation into the industry, which is not the case for other industry. Really, old industry with the old process and everything, so not so much welcoming in terms of bringing new innovation in the ecosystem. And gaming, that's not the case. VR, AR, a lot of gaming infrastructure that pretty new. So we are very fortunate to actually work in this ecosystem, and that's kind of the thing we try to do.
Definitely. Do you foresee a future where BGA has like these meetups, kind of weekly, these like weekly meetings? I saw that there was recently some talk about being in a council, and then also voting. Can you speak on that a little bit more?
Oh yeah, sure, good one. So in terms of first events, you're right. We just don't want to say you're going to be a BGA member and you're going to be involved in the Telegram and Discord. And for me, it's a good value proposition for doing some business, but it's not enough. That's why we really want to create offline opportunities to meet, because even if we all live in the metaverse, when you're doing business, that there is nothing better than just meeting the people in front of you and talking with them, actually. So we know that that's something that all members are looking for. So we organize a lot of events all over the world. It was Paris 3 weeks ago. It's going to be San Francisco next week with you, Juan. We'll be happy to meet you face to face,
Of
and
course.
other place all over the world. So events are very important, and as you said, governance is also something very important. We're not
Hmm.
um, naming ourselves like DAOs for now,
Right.
but obviously, we want to bring more opportunities for our members to give to make decision to help us, the BGA team, to make decision in terms of any activities we have. So, from this year, we are organizing our first election to actually vote for board members. So we are asking every members of the BGA to actually vote of the individual they would like to have as board members. It's going to take some
Right.
time to want to make sure that every 500 companies will be able to vote, and we're going to do that in a very well three ways. When we're going to whitelist our members, and they will be
Mhm.
able to vote based on their address. And yeah, it's going to be very fun because we really want to bring transparency and engagement.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, meeting in person is a big thing. I mean, being able to have a supporter at these events like GDC is a huge thing for re-NFT, and I think it's a huge thing for everybody to know that you have a community that you're going to go to that is already there. It's kind of off topic, but whenever I meet people online, I'm always surprised by their height in person. So how so how tall are you?
Same. Yeah, same. I'm very small, so it's easy for me to be impressed with the height of people. But
Okay.
I agree. Always happen to me as well. But that's the magic. So I hope you are not too tall. I hope so. We'll see. We'll see next week.
I don't think so. Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely see. Well, I think this is a good transition into moving a little bit more about you and your thoughts on kind of Web3 gaming, and also as a gamer, what games are you playing today? What excites you the most? Maybe in general, any game, and then we can talk a little bit more about some Web3 games that you're looking
Yeah.
into.
So I've been a player my whole life, still am. I am a player. I was in love with Warcraft 3, so the Blizzard franchise. And when they decided to launch the World of Warcraft, so obviously I was in, and I still play the game. So I'm a big fan of the lore of Warcraft and really attached to the game. But I play different games. It really depends. I would say obviously I need to understand better Web3 gaming by playing games. Obviously makes sense. And right now I'm testing a little different things. I'm really into mobile games with blockchain associated to it. For now, like you have Skyweather, one of the most famous trading card
Right.
games with blockchain. And I just try Crypto Arena, which is a game, very fun game. And because I really wanted to understand better what We Made is doing, so the company
Mhm.
behind Crypto Arena, and different things. I'm a big fan of Gala Games as well. I love the company,
Mhm.
but I love the games that they have in their library, like Miranda's, like a Tone Star, like what's the one with the spider tanks? I love this one. Like renting an NFT, I understood that thanks to this game. Like it was
Right.
so clear to me how you could capitalize on renting an NFT to play a game through spider tanks. So that's kind of thing I played.
No, that sounds great. I actually had this thought about renting yesterday, where it was like in reality, what's happening is that you're turning the player base of like your holders, your NFT holders, they're now acting as the marketplace for people to get into playing your game and then
Yeah.
ultimately into your ecosystem. And one thing that we've been seeing a lot more of is games wanting renting to split in the rewards with both of the renter and the lender, which ultimately, enables them to kind of be more a part of the ecosystem. I would encourage you to try to play Castle Crush. That's the game that is kind of
Oh
our
yeah.
flagship game for our protocol, and see how that goes. It's already a Web2 game, so it might be interesting to see how that ultimately goes. But how looking into actually blockchain gaming, it sounds like you played some games, you have a good understanding of the technology. What do you think is like the biggest obstacle that we have that is not enabling us to move forward as an industry?
A lot of challenges and obstacles, actually. I think first overcoming this narrative saying that blockchain only brings scammers and players with the
Mm,
only incentive to win money is not
mm,
something positive for the ecosystem. But what do you need to face that narrative is to actually bring some games playable and with this
mm,
experience of ownership. And we're seeing that. And I think a lot of people is waiting a lot of AAA games to actually be convinced, and I understand that. But you
right,
already have a lot of good games that you could play. You could play, especially on mobile, and you could understand. You don't have to understand, and we don't have as a game developers to explain what is blockchain to a player. It's like it's not
right.
possible. You don't want to do that,
Yeah,
but you do want to explain ownership through the experience of and through the gameplay. So that is not something easy to do, especially because we are in the beginning of everything. But I think
correct.
this learning curve will be done easier and easier along the years. So it would take a few times, but I'm pretty positive. But it's one of the narrative we need to tackle. And I would say the other one is the biggest challenge, in my opinion, is to educate players about ownership of digital assets,
Right.
which is a new philosophy. And
Mm,
that's why you see that the main challenge when we released the report, actually, we saw that 51% of respondents said that onboarding players, make games accessible for players, was actually the biggest challenge for the industry, for the gaming industry,
mm,
blockchain gaming industry. So we see that that's big challenge, and we still see that for the kind of challenges facing the blockchain gaming companies, you still have FUD, obviously, based on
yeah.
what's happening in the crypto markets. Unfortunately, marketing and brand awareness, because that is hard to actually promote games using blockchain, and it is
Right.
a very different strategy. And lack of funding is also something we've seen as a big challenge is for blockchain
Mm,
game companies, and we try to help them with the kind of introduction we do and events that we organize.
yeah, that makes sense. Talking about the number one issue, it seems like that game devs have, talked about, which is onboarding users. How do you foresee that problem being solved? Are you seeing it be solved today? What does that look like?
You already have a lot of things happening, especially about, so you have to explain, as a company, you have to make the choice of talking about self custody, but custody
Right.
of digital assets as a company. So the game companies, or custody of digital asset as a player, which is two different things. But the learning curve of being a player with full custody is not the same as just playing the game and just letting the companies handle everything in terms of ownership of the players'
Right.
digital assets. So I have a strong opinion on that because I really believe in ownership. But I understand that
Mm,
if you want to remove some friction, you need maybe to consider the company to handle the assets and or specific assets in the game, and maybe other assets to be acquired by the gamers with a real ownership and non-custodial wallet. But I
right.
see a lot of things moving in the right direction with a lot. You see Gata Games. No, not Gala Games. Immutable just announced their wallet,
Mm,
easy to onboard new players as well. So we're seeing a lot of actors in the ecosystem who try to make it easy for gamers to actually have a wallet or not. But it
mm,
seems you do have a wallet, and I think it's going to take some time to educate people. But I think in terms of infrastructure, we're seeing good things.
no, for sure. I think either way, it's 2023 seems like it's the time to build, right? It sounds like these wallets as well, like might not be ready for the volume that might be coming in. Just
Mm.
recently, I was looking into some of the CEOs of these Web3 gaming companies and the games that they worked on, and I saw that one of them, Words with Friends, had like 100 transactions per second
Mm.
at its peak. It's like that's a
Yeah.
lot of transactions per second. We have to
Mm.
figure something out. So we're building those rails right now. And in terms of blockchain gaming, I think in the beginning, when I started, I'm sure that when you started as well, we saw Axie Infinity
Mhm.
pretty much like a play to earn cash grab is ultimately what ended there. I think a lot of people just didn't really understand the mechanics behind what was
Mm.
happening. How do you envision blockchain gaming's changing, possibly 2 years from now?
I think we need obviously to focus on the fun part, the entertainment part of games. It sounds silly, but we're still talking about making a game. So obviously, even if you have a lot of innovation within it, you still want your game to be played, and lets the players have fun playing the game. So that's the focus right now. I think that's why
Mm,
we try to remove this narrative of you're gonna win something by playing the game. It works for some of like I said, like it's worked for some of the players. You have different behaviors in terms of players.
right.
You want and all the time, even if in World of Warcraft, you do have some players who try to flip, new assets for money. But we are talking about money in games and not real money. But you still
Mm,
have this mindset of players who want to capitalize on the game and make the best of their gameplay and their game experience by acquiring new values, new money, game money for them. So it's a behavior that we always saw, but that's not the
mm,
only behavior that you should see in order to actually provide a sustainable platform with your games. And that's why we're seeing a lot of different things happening in the ecosystem, whether they're just saying
mm.
you're going to win something by playing this game.
Right. I think a lot of people I'm starting to see abstract that from their original game, from like their fun game, and put that onto like an esports platform or like an
Hmm.
esports specific game. How do you think that esports will intertwine in all this blockchain, Web3, et cetera, in gaming?
Yeah. Actually, it's a very good question. I'm learning a lot from my conversation with members or people who want to be members, try to understand what they're doing. And actually, I'm having a lot of
Mm,
conversation with wannabe members who are actually building platform for esports, but using blockchain to
mm,
in esports you have esports team, but actually how you make money with esports teams, it's really based on not the performance of your players, but specifically the kind of deals you are making, partnership you're making with brands
mm,
and everyone. So that's that should be based on your capacity as a player to be good at playing games and to be competent, and actually be the
right.
best. And I think blockchain will bring that, because you are talking about bringing more liquidity to games or a competition, thanks to blockchain technologies. So that's definitely
Right.
something very exciting.
For sure. I actually think that esports, and one of the genres that I'm really excited about is extractions, because imagine that you see an esports player that you love, that you're always interacting on Twitter, is now carrying $100,000 of this token.
Mm,
And in order for them to get it, they have to, ultimately successfully extract themselves. And that
yeah.
entertainment value is huge. And I think that we'll start to see this a lot more where possibly you can be like a member in the arena watching people play and it's all in real
Mm,
time, and for tokenized assets that have value, and make it a little bit more exciting,
mm.
which is I don't think we've ever have really seen before, which obviously again I think we're going to start seeing. Let's say that
And
I must.
it is no,
uh,
it is a good point, Juan, because obviously we're talking about the democratization of esports, bringing more liquidity to the players who are actually good. But as you said, we're also talking about the ability of big players to build a community of viewers and fans. And because you have transparency in terms of what in-game assets these good player has, it's good to, as a community, it's good to rely to that, and try to say, okay, I want to have the same in-game asset that my favorite players, and this kind of
mm,
transparency is pretty exciting in my opinion.
for sure. I mean, who is it? I think it's Nor and Wildcard Alliance, who are both essentially like splitting their two platforms essentially, one esports specific and then one maybe not like they're not one to one. Obviously, they're all kind of working on it in their own way, but I think
Mm.
we will see something like that arise in the future because I think that's the best way to create a digital economy because people that are playing for esports, I think, are playing already for to get something and are willing
Mm.
to put something in order to take something out, which ultimately is what you need to create an
Yeah.
economy. Um, and so I'm really excited to see at GDC specifically, like, how are they approaching esports? I mean, we're starting to see also, I'm guessing that you talk to a lot of like game discoverability platforms, like,
Mm.
you know, because that's a big issue in kind of Web3 gaming. Is that something of a focus right now for BGA?
Uh, our focus is really based on what our members want. Like it could sound
Mm,
shitty, but we are a non-profit organization, so we don't have any business plan, business model. We actually invest in activities that make sense for our members first. So it really depends on the kind of thing we are seeing and judging inside the ecosystem. Discoverability is obviously something important, and we try to see that from a lot of different actors in the space. That's a challenge, though, because if you're talking about searchability, discoverability, you need a lot of games, playable games. I won't say well polished, but I would say actually games that you could play, not in beta, not in alpha. And it
right,
takes time to actually release a game, even if you don't have any blockchain related to that. So I think
right.
it's something that we will see more and more, but I'm seeing more and more focus on, um, uh, bringing moving forward with the games and the development of the games from alpha release to beta, and actually have something for the community who actually believe in the project 2 years before. So
Right. I mean, I think that's like a chicken and the egg problem sort of thing. Like we can't build tooling for games that don't exist, and then the games
exactly.
that will exist aren't, maybe the most fun, and so people kind of turn them off immediately, which is, unfortunate. But I think, things take time, as you mentioned.
Mm.
Totally agree with that. Let's say that I'm a small, game developer looking to build a successful blockchain game. What are some tips that you would give me to ultimately achieve my goal?
So obviously, we're not talking to game developers only. You do have
Mm,
Game 7. I really like to mention them because they actually have a big network of game developers involved in
mm,
Web3. We do have different people involved in BGA depending on what they're doing, and you have a lot of decision maker, but entrepreneur, but you partnership manager and game developers. But we have a large diversity of people involved, like lawyers and VCs.
right.
But I would say my advice for everyone who want to be involved in the ecosystem is to be confident with the technology first, actually embracing this new philosophy of owning your digital assets, and build your conviction by talking to people we believe who believe in it, but actually the one who actually building something. And you need to get involved in communities like the BGA, but others as well, to actually have conversation with them and try to engage with them and build your own um, uh, sentiment about the technologies and the ecosystem as well. So for game developers per se, I will say don't overcomplicate things at first with your game project with blockchain. It doesn't have to be fully on the blockchain to say that you are empowering your games with ownership, but you can experiment a little bit and make sure it delivers value to the players first with some aspect of ownership. And I would say, lastly, build your community first. Like your community of fans should be getting exciting from day one, based on each iteration of the game you of your project that you're building.
Yeah, definitely. I think community is a big one that sometimes people that don't come from a Web3 native, space overlook very easily. I think it's really easy to get lost into this blockchain technology because you learn about staking and it's like, oh, I'm going to have staking in my game. Cool. Like,
Yeah,
oh, these
exactly.
tokens. Cool.
Yeah.
So I totally agree there. Like you kind of have to simplify it and then get into, what makes sense in the future. because not everything does make sense ultimately. But for you yourself, like, how do you stay up to date with everything that's happening? You mentioned before that it's a very fast kind of pace industry. And I assume that you are getting your news from somewhere, or have a place to go for everything.
I try to I try obviously to watch a lot of different things online to perform my understanding of the technology and be informed of what's happening in the ecosystem. But I think the most important thing, and I'm very fortunate to actually be the one who actually try to prepare things for our members in terms of content that helps me to actually be sure that I'm asking the good question. Because if you are asking the good question, uh, collect very good feedback from the members who are actually building things and have a very specific vision of different things. So I'm learning a lot in these steps of preparing my content for the BGA and for the BGA members, and from that and from the answers of our members, it helps me to understand the ecosystem better.
Yeah, that makes total sense. What would you say, like, is something in recent months that you've learned about that excites you a lot for the future? Is there anything?
Um, it's gonna be an easy one, but I really loved our conversation this week with one lawyer. We got Space Sports, actual members of the BGA, and I hope, finger crossed, with Godwaken, which should be a BGA member. I count on you, Juan, to tell them that they should join. But
Sounds good.
it was a good conversation, and they are actually bringing a lot of innovation into why blockchain should be considered in the creative process of building an IP, any type of IP, but for us, it's going to be related to gaming. And asking the community of creators to actually participate in this in this IP is pretty interesting. I love this. And I think we're going to see a lot of platform doing this as well. We're seeing, yoga labs with the Board Ape Yacht Club. They are pretty advanced in those things. And when you see a lot of Board Ape Yacht Club owners trying to capitalize on their IP to actually do other business, to create some other stories based on that, like the Mutant Hund, one of the project of one of the holders. It's pretty cool. It's pretty innovative, and I'm pretty excited to see gaming a part of this IP ecosystem.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think IP is huge, and we obviously have seen a whole bunch of Web2 gaming studios bring their IP onto the blockchain, and that's exciting in itself. Is there anything that like excites you in terms of existing IP that's coming onto the blockchain that you've seen at all?
I'm a big holder of a lot of different PFP communities, so obviously
Mm,
I'm exciting, but I think we're gonna see interesting things in 1 year or 2 years, but not now. I think it's too soon. But I'm pretty excited with what we will see and how brands as well will be a part of this ecosystem of IPs with gaming
right.
as well, like the kind of thing you're seeing with the artifacts and the clonics. You
Mm,
kind of you have head of gaming art artifacts slash Nike,
mm,
which is pretty awesome. So
mm.
I followed that for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In terms of like the BGA members, going back to that really quickly, I know that there's been a big support and kind of rush for blockchain within kind of like the Asian markets. Are you seeing members also from there? And then is there a plan to like have something specific for that market?
Yeah, I think there is a different behavior as well as players to adapt blockchain technologies and understand better ownership. On our side, we are a lot of players are defining blockchain gaming with investment, which is not, maybe based on our understanding of capitalism, I would say. And we're seeing a total different behavior, I think, in terms of adoption from players in Asia. And we have a lot to do as the BGA because we don't, the majority of our community comes first from Europe, and after that the US, and after that the Asia. So we want to be better on addressing some issues and challenges of blockchain gaming and gaming industry with in Asia specifically. So a lot of activities planned. We actually did an event just yesterday at AWS Amazon headquarter in Singapore with blockchain gaming enthusiasts. So that's the kind of thing we want to do based on our ability to bring opportunities to meet and network.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. So are you saying, so I've seen a whole bunch of things for AWS for games. It sounds like they're starting to really jump on the cycle. Do you have any alpha on that?
I do have the alpha to say that AWS will be a member, will be announced as a member very soon of the BGA officially. And with these objectives to actually educate both sides, like from them and
Right.
from the blockchain gaming ecosystem, what we could do together. So we want AWS to be a part of this, and they are big actors in the space. So we are planning a lot of activities already with them before announcing this alpha that you are one of the only one to know, actually.
Perfect. It's very exciting. Thank you so much for that privilege. I've seen a lot of things from AWS, from partnering with other people that we're talking to really exploring the industry. So it's exciting to see that come alive, because I think it speaks to how exciting things are in kind of blockchain gaming, of course. Can you speak a little bit more about the importance of collaborating and networking within the industry? Obviously, I think BGA is a prime example of that. And maybe what are some of the successes that you've seen through that?
In terms of success, obviously that's pretty obvious why you need to collaborate with other people when you are trying to bring innovation into a big industry like the gaming industry. As a reminder, the gaming industry is stronger than both the music industry and the film industry. So that means something. So obviously, even in 2023, even if we're starting in 2018, we are a niche. Yeah, still. So we have to be aware of that still, and that's why collaboration is really important, because that's the best way to grow together. And that's the kind of initiative and incentive that we try to do in the BGA through the activities that we have. So as I said, creating content help us to bring context to our members about why they should reach out to them. So that's one of the things we do, and events as well with the opportunity to meet is something we try to do. As I said, we try to listen to our members, and actually, obviously, meeting VCs is a big challenges for them, and we want to help with that. We won't say that we will be the one to help you to raise fund. That's not true, but we at least want to create opportunities for a conversation with VCs, because we do have VCs in the BGA. And actually, last year during NFT NYC, we organized a kind of matchmaking event between VCs and blockchain game companies, and we did have two blockchain game projects who managed to raise funds. So it was good use case for us.
So it sounds like you're the Cupid of the Web3 gaming space, in a variety of different facets, and I'm sure that we'll see that come to life truly at GDC. It's like, hey, you got to meet this person. Yo, you got to meet this person. And,
exactly, that Cupid of the blockchain gaming ecosystem. I love that. I hope you don't have any IP in the blockchain yet.
No. It's all yours to keep. You change your Twitter name after this if you want. But talking a little bit more about blockchain gaming as we come to the end of our live stream, where do you see blockchain gaming in the BGA 5 years from now? And would love to just kind of hear your innovative and imaginative mind kind of speak out, because I think it's very exciting, and sometimes people don't see it as very exciting, just because obviously it's so early on.
I think thanks to the games that we will see, the fact that a lot of big game companies like Square Enix and the others who actually already make the move to actually go into Web3, they will be able to release very good games. Not only them, but like it's important that we do have traditional game companies entering the ecosystem more and more. And we will see more and more very cool games happening with a lot of innovation that we are not seeing right now, for sure. I'm sure of it. For players to enhance the experience of players. That will help us to prove the legitimacy of blockchain gaming. And the next step will be for sure to how we convince players to actually play blockchain games. We're not talking about that right now. We try to help our members to actually organize events for players with blockchain gaming, but that is not our focus. So I think esports will be one of the things we will focus on in a few years. But right now we do have a lot of things to do to educate the industry. So.
Yeah, most definitely. Everybody does. Everybody should be taking a share of that responsibility. It's not on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And on everybody's. Do you think that we'll see a breakout game by 5 years?
Oh, even before. Okay. Yeah. I think
exciting.
I think next year, if I had to bet on something.
Next year. All right, I'm gonna keep you to that next GDC. I'll be able to keep you on that. Cool. Well, I would love to, have you explain to, our listeners a little bit more about how they can follow you and the work of the BGA and keep up with all the updates that you're really, being able to give out. You give a lot of great information. Like you mentioned the survey that you had with the BGA members. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more education that's going to come out your way and content. So where can people ultimately capture that?
So you can actually watch our videos on YouTube and Twitter. We do have a new members presentation when we actually introduce our new members, what they're doing, they're pitching what they're doing and who they are. We do have also panels, as I said, we tackle a specific topics based on the expertise of our members. That's very insightful. And we actually release articles based on our conversation in the panel. So on Medium as well, follow us on Medium to actually read about blockchain gaming. And we do have demo days as well because we're talking about gaming, so we need to make it fun. And actually during our demo days, we let our members to play their games on live, and we offer the opportunity to the audience on live to actually win NFTs. So it's pretty cool and engage in an engaged way. And yeah, through our YouTube videos, on our from our articles on Medium, and from the reports that we release on our website, and actually on every kind of social networks that we publish on.
Dope. And I'm going to share the website here so that people can follow. We'll make sure to have it in the show notes whenever we share it on YouTube or on Spotify, whatever we decide to create with this content. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been really great to get to know you a little bit better before I meet you next week. And it's great to just hear your thoughts on what's happening in the industry, where you see things going. And again, I hope everybody enjoyed this really insightful conversation with Flav, and a super insider, I would say, in the blockchain gaming industry. And we'll keep on bringing on guests that are very interesting and insightful, and allowing us to get a better idea of where the Web3 gaming space is heading. So don't forget to follow our channels and stay tuned for the next episode of the Web3 Gaming Show. Before I end off with my signature, hey, we're looking for game devs, is there anything that you would like to say, Flav?
Nothing, except thanks again for the invite. Really appreciate it. Appreciate what you do as well for the ecosystem. Thanks again.
Of course. Well, if you're a game developer looking to diversify your game economy, we have the solution for you. Reach out at renft.io and let's talk about NFT rentals. Until next time, and thank you again, Flavien. I'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Later.